So you're a public speaker. You speak to audiences. You give speeches. What, in your opinion, is the most important part of a speech? It's commonly believed that the most important part of a speech is the end of the speech, the summary, the conclusion, the winding up, and leaving certain messages, certain words at the end of that speech in the mind of the listeners. I don't entirely agree with that. I believe the most important part of the speech is the opening, the beginning of the speech. Because if you don't get the audience riveted, absolutely hooked on what you are saying at the very beginning of the speech, certainly within the first minute of the speech, you'll have lost them. And then it will be very difficult indeed to get them interested in the body of the speech, the message. Certainly, if you can tie the opening and the conclusion together, as I do in some of my presentations, it does help a lot. The way to open a speech. Connor Neil, the professional speaker, in one of his YouTubes, deals especially with this, how to open a speech. I won't go further into what Connor says here, but one of the things I think that you can use is invoke that feeling of intrigue. What is going to come? He's just said this, what's going to happen now? For example, you could say, I looked over the side into the still water, and my memory took me back as my mind descended deeper and deeper into that black, still water. It took me back through the years to 40 years ago. Now, this obviously is the beginning of a story. And people cannot resist a story. If you tell them, I'm going to tell you a story now, it spoils the whole thing. But if you say a few words, just a few words, that immediately invokes in them the idea, we're going to be told a story, they will listen. People can hardly ever step away from the story. Once you've got those first few words out and they've listened and their attention is aroused and they're intrigued, what's going to follow next? This is one of the best ways to open a presentation. Of course, there are other ways, and the ways that Connor Neil, the 3 ways that Connor Neil puts forward, are very good indeed. But so too, I believe, is opening with a story in such a way that they can't resist it. So, to reiterate, the most important part of a presentation, I believe, is the opening. How you go out on that platform, on that stage, those first few words as they're looking at you and are drawn into what you are saying, rather than analysing how you look and thinking whether they like you or not, which is done subconsciously by them anyway. They are drawn by those first few words. The opening of the stories, the opening of the speech, the presentation, whatever it is, so important. And if it's a motivational speech or a speech where you want to leave a particular message with them, if you can repeat the same few phrases at the end of the speech that you open the speech with, you have a powerful combination of bookends with the content of the book between those bookends. If you can match the opening and the ending, you have a powerful speech indeed. But most important is the opening.